Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has a lot of people talking. And why not? How can he be playing the way he is and not be a topic? He's been in the MVP shouts this year, and for a good reason too. He's been balling so hard that even the legends of the game can't ignore the kid. Let's find out exactly what NBA greats have to say about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai is a walking bucket. Did you know that he had at least 30 points in 45 games this season? No kidding. He even broke KD's former record of 47 with his being 48. And it's not just that, it's the fact that no one saw it coming. At only 25, he just keeps getting better. Can you imagine having a stat line comparable to Michael Jordan? At just 25, Shai's game is already legendary, and it's only getting better. Dude's lighting up the court like he's prime MJ or something. Even the retired champs are taking notice. But are they impressed by the young gun or jealous of his smooth moves? We're about to find out what the NBA greats really think of SGA in a sec. So buckle up, because this is about to get legendary. But first, here's something very important. Although right now the world can see that Shai isn't your average baller anymore, it wasn't always like this. His story starts way back. Shai was born in Toronto, where hooping became his obsession at an early age. But the mind-blowing thing is that even with his talent, he still got cut from his high school junior team. Talk about a Kobe-sized setback. However, he switched schools, balled out hard, and led his squad to a city championship, and snagged the MVP honors while at it. And by his senior year, he was averaging a ridiculous stat line of 18.4 points, 14.4 rebounds, 4.0 assists, and that was what landed him a scholarship to the legendary Kentucky Wildcats College, where SGA truly erupted. His outstanding performance that year is also what got him named to the Southeast Conference All-Freshman team, basically the brightest young stars club. Then he declared for the NBA draft. Being the 11th round pick in a year where Luka, Trae Young, and Ayton headlined the events, he was more of an afterthought. And then that same time, he was traded to the Clippers for almost next to nothing just to acquire Paul George. Although his rookie year wasn't a stat explosion, but his talent was clearly undeniable. Fast forward to 2024, through relentless work and a dramatic evolution, Shai has now become a superstar for the OKC Thunder. We're talking a serious 31 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 6.3 assists, while shooting 55.2% overall, including 32.4% from deep, while also leading his team in scoring and establishing himself as one of the league's elite young defenders. Oh, here's another thing. He leads the league in steals, averaging almost 2.1 per game. To put things in perspective, listen to Stephen A. Smith go on and on about Shai.
On pace to join Michael Jordan as the only players in league history with 2 seasons averaging 30 points and 5 assists, shooting 50% from the field by the age of 25.
And now he's in the MVP debates, and even better, some of the NBA greats are noticing, and we're about to see what they're really saying about SGA. Is he the next MVP? Let's find out. Starting with Shaq, you know, giant, charismatic genie who grants wishes. Except the wishes involve alley-oop dunks and goofy highlights. Yeah, that's Shaq. When it comes to the NBA's big guys, he's basically the king, the Shaq of Sharks. So when Shaq speaks, especially about young ballers, you best listen, because he knows his stuff.
But I want you to hear from me first. I thought that SGA should have been the MVP. That's no disrespect to you.
And guess what? Shaq's got his eye on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Just so you know, this isn't your average shout-out either. Shaq practically dropped the mic when he was asked who he'd pick between Shai, Joker, and Luka Doncic for MVP. And he simply chose Shai.
Considerations, you want to be the MVP. The MVP is SGA. Period.
You heard for yourselves. Shaq believes Shai Gilgeous-Alexander should be awarded an MVP, and to top it off, he literally says he's the baddest player in the game. And it seems just like us, he'd love to see a beautiful zero-to-hero story. You know, the one where no one expects him to be good, but he turns out to be great. And surprisingly, he's not the only one who thinks so either. Here also we have one of the league's best point guards of all time, the point god himself, Chris Paul. Chris Paul labels Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's growth as the most remarkable he's ever seen in his career.
Being my teammate and now seeing how his game has just gone to a whole nother level, I'd be so happy for him.
Shai may not have been thrilled getting traded away from the Clippers, but to be fair, he did end up spending a season with CP3. And that's pure gold. Imagine getting schooled by a master. Because for sure they did ball out that season. Now Shai's been balling out ever since CP3 left, and now he's gradually transitioning into one of the greats himself. It's almost like CP3 left him some magic point guard dust. And here's Paul George raving about Shai's game, almost like a fan. For those who don't know, PG is the reason why Shai had to leave LA. It seemed like quite a bargain for the team, or so they thought. But the youngster currently is better and also has better stats compared to both PG and Kawhi combined. But it seems like it's all love between them, and on his podcast, he goes ahead to heap loads of praises on the youngster. Paul George goes into detail about what makes Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's mid-range game so tough to guard. According to him, the part of SGA's game that gets the highest rating on his scale is his mid-range game. Because first, he has a variety of moves to get his defender off balance. He can step back, fade away, shoot step-throughs, and up and unders. This makes it difficult for defenders to predict what he'll do next. Second, he is tall for a point guard at 6'6", so he can shoot over smaller guards. This gives him a significant advantage on the perimeter. Third, because he doesn't shoot many threes, defenders can't sag off on him to contest the three. This allows him to drive to the basket more easily if his defender gives too much space on the perimeter. All these things combine to make his mid-range game a very effective weapon. Basically, he went on and on and on to tell the world that Shai is an elite point guard in the making, and in the future he's going to be a menace in the league more than he already is. Also, Gilbert Arenas thinks SGA has a legitimate shot at the NBA's MVP award. Yeah, it's just like you heard. Gilbert Arenas thinks there's a really good chance that Shai wins the award ahead of Jokic and Luka. Former three-time NBA All-Star Gilbert Arenas makes his choice clear.
This is the MVP. Shai is the MVP this year.
Okay.
And here's why. There's not a veteran on that team that has any experience of winning. This is him pushing this 22, 23, 24-year-old team, has them in a position to be the number 1, 2, 3 seed.
Arenas loves that Shai's grinding it out without a full squad of veterans to carry him. In fact, Shai's the old man on the starting lineup, more like the wise grandpa leading the young bucks. He is consistently proving he's the real deal, the glue holding the team together. And guess what? It's working. The OKC Thunder are sitting pretty at number 3 in the Western Conference, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a big reason why. He's quite literally carrying the team. To have the hibachi himself praise you, that's gotta mean a lot. Shai's rise from high school rejection to an NBA force cannot be ignored, not even by the legends. But who exactly does SGA play like? That's the million-dollar question. Some say he's a supersized Allen Iverson, all heart and handles. Others see flashes of Rod Strickland, a scoring point guard with a killer crossover. Maybe it's a mix of Tracy McGrady's smooth shooting and Tim Hardaway's killer instincts. Honestly, who cares? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is carving his own path in the NBA, and the future is looking bright. But the question remains, is Shai an MVP candidate according to the legends? He is, but what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments.